Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for the Formula 4 Head Season 17 World Championship Series here. Joined on the desk by, of course, main perpetrator of creating the championship, Mr. Dave Forehead himself. Forehead, we saw an absolutely phenomenal round of racing in Monza with Kanza and Jake, the two really close guys at the top now. I think it's a two-horse race, fighting it out. How are you today, and what's your thoughts going into this?
Yeah, really tight battle. First of all, of course, hello and thanks for having me once again. Um, yeah, really tight battle. I think there's 9 points or something between Jake and Cans, and then maybe another 20, 30-ish to third. So, yeah, we're going to see who's going to be able to pull out the bag today. It is, of course, a dry track, like last time. However, Singapore has never been Jake's friend. There's always been a controller issue with Singapore for Jake. And I don't exactly fancy his chances in comparison.
Yeah, although he's had none of those issues this season yet. He's been quite good in Singapore. Well, in the past when he hasn't had a controller issue. Crossy's the one to watch out for. I think it's snatch ball here by quite some distance, Forehead. It is worth noting, Cans, of course, got 25 points. Jake got 18, but he got 2 points as well for pole position. So Cans extended his lead. What was he on, 169? Jake was 164?
I believe...
Or was it 170? Let me just double check it. So let's go back. I'll look at my message to you.
174 sounds right.
169, 164. So Cans now is a 10-point lead basically over Jake. So that's the gap at the top, 10 points. And Jake will be looking, of course, to bring that back here on Singapore. And I am going to follow whoever the furthest guy out on track at the moment is. And Forehead, I believe that is... I
think it's Otis. We're not 100% sure.
No, I think it's Jake. Hold on, Jake. Rez. Crossy, it's Rez. So we're going to follow Rez through this lap, of course. We didn't get to see him, of course, all that much because he binned it in Monza, and of course he had a quali ban from his outrageous incident. Sending it miles up the inside, like literally on the 50-meter board he started braking at the top of Lake in Spa. So obviously when you're braking from 350 kilometers an hour with a 50-meter board, you're not going to make the corner. And he smashed Panda at that race. But Forehead, let's follow him on board now. We'll listen to some pure engine sounds, and of course you can point out any obvious problems with his lap, which I'm sure that they're going to be implemented.
Yeah, well, we'll see. Anyways, going into the first corner, and that's... It was an okay first corner. Pretty aggressive, I'd have to say, more than anything else. But
he is one of 4 people on ultras at this moment in time. Everyone else is on hypers.
That's interesting, actually. I wonder if he can make that work. I'd say you kind of need to be in the top 7-ish to really make that useful.
Yeah, I agree.
We'll see how this plays out.
I think at the end of the day, though, track position is key around Singapore. It's so hard to pass.
Yeah.
And I'd rather be at the front, and I'm sure that's what the guys are thinking as well. He's putting a lot of it on the line on this lap forward, I would say, considering, you know, it's the first lap of quali.
Yeah, he does. He does seem very committed to this. Really throwing himself into it. For better or for worse.
Fuck me.
But,
yeah. He killed himself.
Nice and tight around that corner. Anyway, gets very early on the throttle as he goes through into what I believe is the start of the third sector. I could actually be wrong.
You are absolutely right. No, you're absolutely right there. The most important thing, of course, is to leave a little bit of time on the table in these corners, because you can corner cut them a little bit, but if you do that, obviously getting invalidated lap time. So Rez, of course, isn't going all out into the apexes trying to like find the lap time. He's just trying to make sure he gets the lap done at this stage now, because that's the most important thing. He's so good through this last sector in terms of the smoothness, but is it quick? Let's find out.
Yeah, at the moment he's got Bottas to compete with on a 138.4.
Oh, but Crossy behind on the hypers!
Wow.
And I'm sure he can go quicker.
That is something. That is a statement.
Oh my god! A 136.9, and he blitzes the lap. Does Jake?
Wow. Whew. Well, serious statements being put out in this first round of qualifying. Wow.
Not sure what's happened to Bottas. He has retired from the race, or from quali.
That feels quite early.
Oh my god, Panda has slapped the exit wall there. I'm watching Panda's lap here now. He's on the ultras. He went slightly slower than Rez, which basically bodes to say that he's going to be around the same pace as him. But surprised that Blaz lap wasn't very quick on the hypers. Crossy I guess, is around where I'd expect him to be, but I'd expect a small bit more out of him. Otis did his lap in ultras, and he's not really on the pace at all around here. This isn't the track that would suit his extreme driving style, I would say, forehead.
Yeah. But wow, Jake with that lap time. What do we expect the gap between the ultras and the hypers? Do we know?
Generally, it's about 0.8 of a second, I think. I'm not 100% sure
Wow.
on the delta between them here, but it's an impressive lap time that he's pulled out there. Well, then again, that depends on the driver. Some people can find more time between tires, some can find less, you know.
Well, Panda being held up by Force India.
I don't think he's on a lap though, is he? It's hard to say.
Well, he blew past them pretty quickly, so he's desperate to get into the pits and change tires, or he is on a lap.
Cans now on board with lovely Cans here as he enters into the hairpin after the Anderson Bridge. Going down though, I guess what is really the back straight on this track. It's all about spotting your braking here through this difficult downhill braking zone. Even with ABS on, it can be very tough to make sure you get the right hand side of the car hooked in there. But he's looking good, I have to say, on the ultras here. It looks like a good lap from Cans. But to be looking at Jake's lap time, Cans will want to be in the 37s here, I'd say, because that lap from Jake was very, very impressive indeed. Spare a thought for Ghost Forehead, who, of course, has no graphics card at the moment and is therefore missing out on the races tonight.
Yeah, big shame from him. I'm sure he'd be looking to score points and add to his championship tally. But, of course, the bigger question is who's going to come out between Cans and Jake. And one thing we'll have to say is that is going to be demoralising to look at a time like that and then Cans to go significantly slower.
And 4 tenths off his
on the
teammate.
other tire. Yes, very true.
No, Panda outperforming Cans on the ultras, you know. And to be honest, like the qualifying battle between Cans and Panda Forehead, in case you didn't know, it has been towing back and forth all season long. To give you an update on the actual battle itself, and I'll go in now to the F1 channel here, pause the game just very briefly, and tell everyone about the head-to-heads between Cans and Panda. So it's 7-6 in favour of Cans, right? And obviously it would have been 8-6 after Monza. The gap in qualifying on average has been about 6 tenths, which is a lot, right? But 7-6, 8-6 now going into this race. It's quite close, really, isn't it?
Yeah, that is actually quite surprising if you're Panda. I don't mean that in a rude way at all, but when you look at the actual leaderboard, Cans is obviously, you know, top of the lot right now, and Panda is in and around third, I believe, maybe fourth.
Yes.
So I have to say that there's slightly disappointing for Panda. It does make it out to be that he's not really converting his chances in the same way, but of course that is very harsh for me to say really in the second race that I'm going to see.
Absolutely. Everyone now is out at the moment on hyper soft tyres, except for Cans, of course, who just set his lap time there on that. So everyone out in hypers at this moment in time, but of course only the top 3 at this moment in time have set their lap times on the hypers. So Jake on pole at the moment from Crossy, Blah, Rez, Panda, Bottas, Cans, Otis, and of course that's your 17 bears out of the 8 there. But it's going to be all about converting this now as well. Of course, you don't get points really for qualifying. You only get 2 points for pole. That's it. It's all about the race forehead, as we know. And it's super critical to get off the line well. And if Crossy is on that front row, you do not want to be on the front row with him.
Yeah, well, this man seems to have a huge sort of aura around him, but seems to be both in a good and a bad way. So I wonder now if he can make anything out of the slap that's about to go on here.
Absolutely. Let's follow him.
That first series of corners so difficult to get right. Really need to ride the curbs so hard there, and then coming down into this kind of unusual corner. I find the exit that's just so narrow. I found that out too.
God. Wheel users have a habit of hitting that wall there for some reason. A 27-1 from Crossy, and that compares or actually no, it was a 26-9 rather. I'm not sure why it's giving us his old lap times. I'm not sure why that keeps happening, to be honest. It's a weird bug. He actually did a 26-9 for it. He's 2 tenths up already.
Well, that would be a big confidence boost right there, especially since he was on the Hypersoft last time around, from what I remember. So, yeah, that definitely must have been a banker, that 37.5 beforehand.
Yeah, absolutely. It would have been a banker. Crossy knows he needs to get high up on this grid here. Because it's all about grip position, it's all about converting, and last season he was dominant in Singapore. He ran away with it. It was like 20 seconds up by the end of the race. So yeah, he's in another league generally on this track, but let's find out. He went very wide there, I wonder is that a corner cut? No, it's not. He gets away with that because sometimes the game can register that as a invalid lap time for some strange reason. But looking good at the moment, Forehead. I wonder what can he improve his lap time to as we come now into the last sequence of corners here. Crossy looking at the time, 36.9 from Jake. He's on a 37.5. He's definitely going to improve it, I say. But by how much? Let's go now as he sweeps through the last corner. Very fast corner. Crossy, he's going to beat it maybe. Oh yes, he does. He beats it by 400ths of a second. What a lap time from Crossy.
Wow. Oh, wow. Well, that is close. And I'm sure Crossy, watching the timer there on the top right of the screen, must have been in bits trying to work out whether he's going to be first or second. But that is much more impressive. That is absolutely the Crossy I want to see anyway. And Jake now is going to have I wonder, is he on a lap? Will he be trying to make some moves?
I'm not sure it's a good lap. We'll find out now as he comes around the last corner. He's carrying a lot of speed through here. He's going to do it. He's taking it by a tenth of a second, Forehead. And what a response to respond with a jab like that.
Yeah, bravo, Jake. And now the question is, what's going to happen in round 3? Because right now, they have the time to go back out one last time. And I'm sure they're going to take it. I couldn't help notice as well, just before that last corner, there was some Renault-looking debris right in front of it. And I just wonder how the two Renaults are getting on of Blah and Rez.
I saw Rez and Panda both exiting the pit lane at Hypers, but they're back in the pits now. So I wonder, did they have some sort of coming together? Hard to say, but I wonder, is that the case? But what a response from Jake, Forehead. I mean, he's been on form in qualifying. Kansas nowhere at the moment down the 8. And to be honest, even if like Jake finishes second, the Crossy, etc., he won't really care too much if he's scoring over Kansas by a whole amount, will he?
No, not at all. Cans is the one who's looking in most trouble here out of everyone. And I'm so impressed with that from Jake, because I thought his first lap wasn't a banker. He went out and he just hit it hard from the get-go. But no, it looked like he still somehow had more in the tank. And he showed it there. So that is amazing. I just wonder, with one more lap, let's not forget Singapore, tight track. It is a street circuit. You do get tuned in as these things go on. So I wonder, is there more to come from him with one more lap?
Absolutely, and I wonder how much time can he find. Obviously, the first lap wasn't a banker, and he found an extra tenth of a second, but can he find more, I wonder. That lap, when I went on board with him for it, didn't look the cleanest, I would say. Crossy's looked a bit better, so maybe he can find more lap time now. But we're on board with Cans here on his out lap. Otis is actually on a lap. No, Otis is diving into the pit lane ahead of Jake really clumsily there, I would say. But anyway, Blah's on a lap, I think.
Yeah, I've been watching Blah for most of this lap here, and he just clipped the wall about 3 corners ago, but thankfully it was at the rear of his car.
Oh, he's let us down by going into the pit lane.
I
got a penalty for that.
I don't think any wing damage was done, but maybe I was wrong.
Yeah. No one's on the laps at the moment. We just got the 2 Haas boys of Panda and Cans at this moment in time on their outlaps. And I believe they're both on Hypers. Yes, they are. Everyone is on Hypers now, so let's see what Panda can do.
Yeah, well, a big lap, because both of the Haas is really further down the grid than they'd like right now. Obviously, Haas, I don't know, I wouldn't say it's an exceptional car around Singapore, but I wouldn't say it's particularly bad either from what I can remember. So
it's still the 5th best car in the game.
Yeah, not ideal for them.
No, absolutely not. It's not been a great performance by the driver here. Jake's in the Forcinia, which is the 6th best car, you know, the one below the Haas. I mean, he's up in P1, Crossy, of course, in that, or also the 8th best car. So, I mean, you know, they need to be finding more time than what they are. So let's see how they do, but we'll stay on board with Panda now since he's the lead Haas here.
Yeah, I mean, that is a fair point about Crossy and Toro Rosso, absolutely, but I also feel like the Toro Rosso doesn't have too bad downforce going through a track like this, but I suppose there is it's definitely credit to the driver nonetheless.
Absolutely. The Toro Rosso does have a decent amount of downforce, definitely more than, say, the Sauber and Williams have for sure. Panda's after slapping the wall there, Forehead, and he's a habit of touching these walls. He's getting too close to the corners. I think he's not getting enough of the car in quickly enough. I feel like he's not turning the wheel quickly enough for me. I don't know, it's a bit weird. Whenever I watch him on board compared to Crossy, Crossy's able to get so much more direction into the car early. But he's looking smooth at least, when he's not at least hitting the wall. Panda now coming up here now to the 2nd sector point. And let's see what his lap time is like so far. So he's 4 tenths up in the 1st sector. His 1st sector is really quick, 26.7, 37.3 in the middle. And who is this ahead of him? Oh no, it's a Williams. There's no way he's going to be able to get that guy out of the way. So it's all about now just keeping your head, getting the lap in, Stroll ahead of you. Panda now looking really good. There's a yellow flag, and Cans has retired. He's absolutely bottled it. And that's going to hurt Cans a lot for his championship challenge. And you can't be throwing away places like this. But he will be starting on Ultras as far as I'm aware. But Panda now, coming around the last corner, and he goes P3 with a 37 flat. He's not going to get enough time though to do another lap. As far as I know.
Well, yeah, small shame in that regards, but very, very nice lap. I'm miles ahead of. So that is very promising for Panda. And if you can stick with Crossy and Jake from the first couple of corners, then that could be a very interesting three-way battle for the race ahead.
Yeah, I'd say Jake is a little bit disappointed though, because everyone knows starting beside Crossy, it's probably pretty much a done deal that Crossy's going to get the guy and probably another guy ahead of you. So Crossy's in second. You know, you can say goodbye probably to your chances of leading into the first corner. But Jake has got pretty good starts as well, to be fair, out of most of the drivers. So we'll see. But yeah, Panda might do a second lap actually. No, he's not. I think he's happy to keep it in, is he? Let's see. Stroll is not getting out of his way though.
Yeah, I'm on board with Blah here, and it looks like he is on a lap. Yes, and this has to be his last lap anyway, so this will be interesting to see how he can do. But that's a big, big drift coming out that third corner?
Third corner,
so,
yeah. Rez has spun it on the very first corner for it. He's absolutely spinned it, and that's his out lap as well.
Rez spinning on his out lap. Is he going to knock his wing? Oh, he has knocked his wing. His wing is totally gone.
Okay, now he's just doing donuts.
His wing is totally
and
gone.
that is why he is last at the moment out of all the drivers, I'm pretty sure, except for Ghost. Everyone else outscored him on points. Well, actually not Blah hasn't yet, but Blah's on a new wheel, so... You know, a new user to a wheel, rather. But Panda goes into the pit lane now, messes up his entrance. We're going to keep an eye on the outlaps of both Crossy and Jake. Jake is ahead of Crossy on track, so it's going to be about what can Crossy do to respond. But Otis here now. We're going to follow him. He's on a lap. You can tell me about Blah's forehead. I'm on Otis because he's further up the road. Let's see what he does.
Yeah, well, Blah has given up on his lap also, so I'm going to watch out with you.
Oh my god, Otis!
Whoa!
Has he actually just hit Jake?
I think he might have hit Jake.
Well, that's a race ban for hitting a championship contender like that. That is absolutely apt. That is...
And I think Crossy's have to slow down too on that basis, so that could be the end of qualifying.
No, he should make it in time, and I'm sure he'll go for it because he needs the pole position. But yeah, that right there is why Otis is race banned effective next time now. So yeah, Crossy now going around the last corner. So this is going to be about whether he can beat his time or not, beat Jake, after Otis is hitting there. So nice dampener for qualifying in the forehead, and this is why I've said we race with retards. You know.
Yeah, it's so unlucky. And I'm sure Otis will say something about being pressured weirdly by Vettel or Raikkonen or whoever that was behind him.
Bullshit.
Not great stuff there. So it's all down to Crossy, I guess, because I'm pretty sure everyone else is finished.
Everyone else is out. Yeah. Oh, Crossy's cut it, I think.
Ooh,
I'm sure Crossy. Yes, he has cut that corner. I knew it. He has. So Jake will still take pole position.
Wow.
So I guess Otis, luckily for him, won't be getting a race ban, but it will almost certainly be a quali ban after that incident there.
Well, those are the standings, like it or not. And I guess Jake feeling very relieved there that Crossy messed up his final lap. And yeah, I think for the most part, pretty fair result.
Yeah, absolutely. But Cans is the big one for it, isn't he? I mean, he's nowhere.
Yeah,
11th. And he's actually going to have free choice of tyres, but if he doesn't have the pace and can't keep it on the road, then what point is there? Otis does get a grid penalty, of course, and that's why I've decided to give him a quali ban rather than a race ban for the next race. But anyway, forehead, you can do an introduction this time. You can do 5 red lights. You can do whatever you want here. We're going to let you do it this time while I bring up the overlays on screen here now for our race start. But forehead, before we start, who's your favourite?
Oh, I think it has to be... Does it have to be Crossy? I think it does. I think the way you've talked about him so much, and off the start, even if he's not there, he seems brave enough to make a move around this track. And Jakey, although he didn't start out that way, he is now definitely a very fair racer, and he will defend hard, but he knows how to defend fairly. And Crossy, knowing that, I'm sure, we'll give him some incentive.
Here you go for it.
Here we are. Red lights coming on all the way to 5.
And
And they're off. Well, it's pretty clean so far. Jake taking a bit of an alternative route through those first 2 corners, but stays ahead. Vettel all the way up into 3rd. I'm not really sure what happened there. Crossy though, holding station in 2nd, hitting the wall there. Loads of them getting very, very close to that wall out wide. Blah, I think possibly a big winner from about 8th up into 5th. But I guess the big news is that there's no change up front. Still obviously very, very close together here. Well, I think the biggest surprise of them all, I'm not sure where he started, but he definitely didn't start 3rd.
No.
I'd love to know what happened with the rest of them.
I think Panda had one of his usual Panda starts. Forehead, apologies for interrupting you in the start. I think one of his Panda starts as usual, or he just messes up the start a lot. He's just not very good on the race starts. He normally just doesn't get away well. But very surprisingly, Jake got off the line fantastically well. He reacted better to the lights than Crossy. Crossy has better traction because he's got a way of just starting better than everyone else. But Jake got away well. And Noel, obviously, Rez is actually also on Ultras. He actually qualified in Ultras. So Rez is in 7, Cans in 8, both in Ultras.
Yeah, well, that's not too bad a situation for those guys then. Because these tyres, I'm sure, are going to go away from them very, very quickly. So those guys, Rez and Cans in 7 and 8, could find themselves moving a little higher towards the end. We'll have to see. And it looks like Jake and Crossy are just about pulling away from the rest of them. But at their own peril.
He's so much quicker, Forehead. He's so much quicker than Jake. He's so much quicker than him. He's following him so much closer in the corners. But Jake's going to pull away in the straight thanks to the force in the OP right now. Crossy's going to try everything, but he's going to have to be close. He's going to have to send it up the lane side somewhere. But he's going to do that, keeping in mind that the championship is at stake here, even for him. He's got an outside chance of it. What do you think?
Yeah, he's going to have to be smart. He's going to have to for a realistic move. But at the same time, Singapore, the straights aren't too long, which means if he can nail it on a certain corner, he's got a real chance. And as I say that, I thought for a second he was going to go side by side, but camera angle fooled me there. Just can't quite find the straight line speed, which I'm sure for him is so frustrating. But at the same time, on every single corner we go right now, Crossy just looks so much more comfortable than Jake.
Yeah, he's so much quicker. It's the turning that the wheel users generally. Oh, he's slapped the wall forehead as I say it. I wonder has he taken wing damage there from that forehead. Can we see his in plate? No, he's got the in plate still, so he doesn't have orange. We know that for a definite, but I'm not sure if he's got yellow or. You know what? What's the color? Lime? Is it lime? I'm not sure what it is, but yeah.
Light green, yeah.
Yeah. He's got to. Maybe he got away with it for it.
Yeah, maybe he did. Maybe it was a lucky sort of wheel to barrier contact. It looks like he's keeping up with Jake so far. It doesn't look to have really stopped him too much. And I'm sure Jake will be absolutely sweating it under that helmet, knowing that Crossy's breathing down his neck.
Oh, that's an interesting line there from Cross. You can normally get a corner cut there for that, and I wonder did he pick up one for that? He did, just literally right there. He picked up one, but Jake also has one. Rez is on one quali line. Yeah, okay. So Rez and Jake, Crossy, and Cans are all on one corner cut at the moment. So they've only got one more to play with, really, don't they? The rest of the race.
Yeah. And for a track like Singapore, that is not exactly going to be comfortable for them. But Jake, again, pulling out the fastest lap, getting away with it on the last corner. I just wonder when DRS kicks in, which it does now, is Crossy going to have a better chance down these straights.
Cans sends it up the inside of Rez, but Rez is going to get him back on the exit. And Rez goes wide. He sends Cans wide as well, and Cans is going to be actually gotten here by Max Verstappen. And Cans just didn't get the move done cleanly enough. And luckily for him, Verstappen does not get him. Crossy's gotten Jake. What's going on?
Yeah, really, really nice stuff from Crossy there. He was so close going into that turn 3. A really nice switchback. And not a lot Jake could do there. DRS fully enabled for the Crossy there. And it looks like he's going to pull away possibly for the rest of this race.
Yeah, it looks like it now. The thing with Crossy is he's so good around Singapore in the race. And the thing the wheel users have as well is that just the tyre wear is so much better on the wheel. It just doesn't wear as much for whatever reason. It's just so much better on it. And there's been times where you've seen Crossy with 20% less wear on the first end when he pits, even though it's 2 laps later than everyone else. So it's obviously got an inherent advantage there as well. So Jake, I'm sure, will be thinking about an undercut at some stage.
Yeah, that is a very good point. There always is the undercut to play for. I'm just looking at behind Jake Joe. Vettel doesn't look too close, but then we have Panda and Blah pretty close behind those two again. So This is going to be an interesting battle for second, I reckon.
Yeah, I got 2 wheel users behind Vettel, and Panda slapped the wall to bits there, and he's really on the ragged edge here, I have to say. Oh my god, he's gone again!
Ooh.
Forehead, Blaz all over the back of him, and I'm sure Blaz going to be fancying this into the first corner here, but no, his eggs is just lacking a little bit.
Yeah, well, a magnificent fastest lap there from Crossy, but I just wonder is Panda struggling with a bit of wing damage or something along those lines, because he is dropping back a bit now from Vettel, and Blaz looking all over him, so this is not good signs at all.
Crossy gapped Jake Forehead on that lap by 2.2 seconds. 2.2 seconds, and he overtook him after turn 5. It's insane.
Yeah. Now, Crossy clearly is in a league of his own, but Blah here looking for the move around the outside of Panda. Let's see, can he make it stick? He's really going wide there around the curve. He goes all the way around Panda. And I'm not sure there's a whole lot Panda could have done there.
No, but Blaz got that killer instinct in terms of racing that I do not think the Panda has. I think it's what he's lacking. I think Jake lacks a little bit of it. Can certainly has it. Crossy has it. And I think Blaz has shown there that he has it. He's not afraid to go for moves, and he's shown it once again there with a brilliant move around the outside of Panda. And this is where Panda is going to lose championships, I think, in the future, and for now as well. You have to like defend it with a bit more than that, don't you? I mean, like, it's hard to say what he could have done differently, but you have to do something more than that.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. He did have a little bit of a sitting duck look about him, but I just wonder what's gone wrong with him, because Blast not pulling away too much. Like, he is pulling away, but not as much as I expected. So I just wonder if Panda sort of lost some sort of an edge all of a sudden, or whether he does genuinely have some kind of wing damage.
Watching Crossy here for it, he's so much smoother than everyone else through every corner. He's so silky smooth. It's when we're going to maybe ride with him for a small bit here just to see what he's like. You can tell me what's happening, but look at that again. He smashes the lap record and he takes another 2.2 seconds out of Jake as Jake pits from second place.
Yeah, not a bad move there from Jake to go into the pits, and looks like a few of them are going to the pits now, so bit of a shuffle around. Of course, Rez and Cans, 2 people that absolutely don't need to on the Ultra Softs. So those guys are going to push it out to, I'd say, about lap 9ish. But we'll see, of course, how they want to play it. But it means they are, for now at least, up into 3rd and 4th. So I wonder, can they make this strategy work? We'll have to see how much traffic Jake, Blah, and Panda all come out in. Because, of course, Singapore is not exactly an overtaking circuit. So if they're right behind someone who's a much slower driver, they could be in trouble.
Blaz behind Sorokin, Jake has got Ericsson and Stroll ahead of him. He needs to get by both of them as fast as possible. I think both Blah and Panda, one of them should have stayed out a lap longer, ideally Blah, I think, because he could have maybe learned from Crossy, because look at the gap Crossy pulls on Vettel. He's pulled another 2 seconds on this lap already. The lap isn't even over yet, and he's just gapping him by so much more. He's got so much more pace once he's in the groove. If you can just keep it out of the wall. Nothing is guaranteed with Crossy though.
Yeah, I mean, that is a good point, but also I definitely would have tried to stay out as long as possible, because of course if everyone else below you pits, then there's not really going to be that many people in your way when you do pit. However, watching Rez here, who's on the Hyper, should be going for, the Ultras should be going for quite a while, had a bit of a moment there, so I wonder about the life of those tyres too, and I wonder those guys are going to be thinking about pitting earlier than they want.
Rez is a really scrappy wheel user, I would say. Blaz kind of similar-ish because he's new to it. Whereas Panda and Crossy are a lot smoother. And Cans, of course, is on controller, so Cans is going to have inherently just more wear on his tires than, say, someone else would, like, a wheel user like Crossy, for example. Crossy continues for another lap, and look, you can make these tires go if you're able to look after him, and Crossy is looking after him. He's actually not sliding really if you watch him. He's not really sliding. Everyone else is sliding, and that's the difference.
Yeah, that's a very good point, because with Singapore, it does encourage you to sort of push yourself as much as possible, which of course ends up you pushing yourself into the wall. So there is a very fine line. Is there drama somewhere else?
Well, Panda has actually taken Blah. We've obviously missed it, so he's taken Blah. Spare word for Otis as well. He's down in 16th at the moment. He's clearly just had a rough race because he's way down in the order at the moment. But Jake's gotten past Stroll there as well, so Jake's now up to 6, and he's going to have to set after stuff for Van Norm, which I'm sure can catch within this lap as well. Gasly's ahead of him. There for Cans, he needs to kind of get by Rez. He's kind of his direct opposition in this race, really, considering Rez is on the Ultras as well as him. So Cans is going to have to be thinking about that, because Jake is looking like, oh my god, Rez has gone so wide. Cans is going to have to leave him room, and he does. Rez will have a better exit, of course, having gone so wide. But he's under pressure now from Cans. And Cans, he's going to have to make the move, and Rez just lets him by. Rez must have had wing damage or something, maybe, I'm not sure, but Rez just decides to leave him go.
Yeah.
Yeah, important move there for Cans.
Very important move and a big, big slide from Rez. I don't understand this. If he's on the harder tire, I know it's not particularly hard tire in general, but on the hard tire,
Oh,
you should
Crossy's
not.
been almost in the pit lane, but he caught it. Oh my god.
Woo-hoo-hoo. Action happening all around us. I'm going to stick with Cans, who is the race leader to be, as he goes around that final corner. And see, will he be able to hold it together? He did it pretty well in Monza last time out. So we'll just see here, are there any corners that are catching him out like last time?
Yeah, Blas had another mistake somewhere. He's behind Marcus Ericsson. He's trying to make him now. Rez just got multiple warnings there now, or multiple warnings, 3-second penalty. Trying to keep up with Cans. Panda is looking to get by Stroll, but he needs to make a move soon because he's losing so much time to Jake here. And he's actually, to be fair, Jake's actually gapped him by like 4 seconds because of this. He's lacking this killer instinct forward. We've talked about it many times before. Panda needs to absolutely just send it on these guys, and it's easy to send it on the AI, which he's just done, but he needs to be starting to do this as well on the human pairs. Jake now, I think, is looking like he's in a solid P2. To be honest, I think Cans is actually going to end up doing a number on the rest of the guys around him. I think he'll be in around Panda, Blaland, and Bla's just got the penalty.
Yeah, well, I mean, he is pulling away from Rez a bit as far as I can see. And Crossy, obviously having pitted, is catching him bit by bit. So you'll want to keep an eye on that, and in particular, I think Jake's progress. I don't see him. He could maybe end up on the podium at this rate. Because if you look at the people around him, Rez needs to pit soon, Gasly will need to pit soon. So that just leaves Crossy and Jake to really stay ahead of him.
Yeah,
Van
I think
Dorn
Cans...
going well in 6th.
Yeah, good old
It's not
stuff from Van
usual.
Dorn. Yeah, I think Cans will come in around Panda territory. Panda needs to really be pushing now hard on those ultras to make the most of them. We still have to pass here. Rez and Blah penalties, as we know. So Cans will probably get those two. So it's going to be about whether Cans can get his teammate, and I wonder will team orders come into effect eventually, because Panda's starting to drop further and further behind. The championship is lacking the speed.
I'm just on board with Jakey, who is right behind Pierre Gasly right now, seriously sniffing an opportunity. Oh, he thought about it on the inside of the final corner, which would have been nuts.
Distraction.
But he is right there, and oh my god, he has gone so much narrower than the Gasly, but it looks like it's going to work out. DRS, I'm sure, will be open. That is going to be a pretty simple move for Jake. So he slides his way into 4th, but what is basically provisional 2nd there. So that's going to be very nice for him. I wonder, does he know about Cans and Rez? I'm sure he does. But either way, he finds himself 7.5 seconds behind Crossy.
I'm sure if Rez is doing his usual running commentary on the situation, he knows exactly what's happening. But yeah, Cans done a good job, but Crossy is lapping 3 seconds a lap quicker than the guys out in front. He's 9 seconds behind now. And it was 12 seconds last lap. So he's just in another league, isn't he?
Yeah. No, he is really putting in a marker for the rest of the field. It would just be interesting to see, can he hold this, race after race after race? Because either way, he does look exceptionally quick, but it is just about actually being able to get to the finish line.
Nice
sometimes
move.
in Singapore is a very, very dangerous track.
Oh, Crossy's just got on a penalty, and he won't really care because he's so much quicker. And a 3 second time penalty doesn't matter if you're 3 seconds a lot quicker than everyone else. But just something to think about.
Yeah. Panda, of course, getting past Van Dorn. I assume that's what you're commenting on.
Yes, it was. It was a brilliant move into the hairpin forehead. He really sent it, and he just made the corner. There was inches in it between him and the wall forehead, and it was looking so good for Van Dorn, but unfortunately the McLaren's just shit car, you know?
Yeah, well, I mean, Van Dorn's still in with a chance. I assume he's got a pit stop to make, though. I think he started on the hybrid.
He does
on
indeed.
the Ultras.
On the Ultras.
So, yeah, it's going to be like a net. Oh, he could be quite far back, actually, by the time he pits. but as of right now, he can always savour the moment.
P17, I think he'll be. Well, he'll be like, obviously, there's guys like Stroll, Ericsson, Sorokin, and pitted. He'll be like P12.
Keep me Raikkonen down 17th, actually, now that you mention that place. He's probably getting used to it when joining Sauber. Getting used to the surroundings.
Absolutely. Crossy now 6 seconds behind Rez. Another 3 seconds out of him on that lap, even with his 3 second penalty. You can almost see Rez. So, yeah, I wonder which one of these guys is going to jump the gun first. I think Rez might try it. I think he might go a lap. And actually, Rez has got the green indicator on his car for it. I don't know if you have the telemetry up. Which means Rez is going to pit this lap to try and get the undercut in cans.
Yeah, well, it certainly makes sense to do so. Now is definitely the lap. But I wonder if Can's thinking the same thing, because at the moment everyone is slowly catching Cans. And I'm sure he won't want to be out too much longer before he becomes a sitting duck. So this is very, very much a time when the strategists earn their money. Cans, though, staying out for one more lap. What's Rez doing? Rez is also staying out. So I feel like next lap kind of has to be it. Otherwise, they will be in a serious heap of trouble. Either way, Crossy, man on a mission here.
To be honest, even with the guys on the hypers, I don't know if they'll beat that lap time when they come out in hypers, fresh hypers, because that's just insane. Mid 39 on ultras in the race.
You say that as Rez hits the outside of the wall very, very hard. There's a bit of weaving going on there. Trying to test out what's going on, trying to feel the car again. Actually, but Crossy, I'm sure, will be licking his lips now at this stage.
I think he'll actually be dreading this because a little bit, because he's obviously going to have to pass Rez somewhere in this lap. Rez is obviously going to be pitting, but I don't think Rez will let him by.
Yeah, I don't think he has to pass Rez though.
Well,
if he really doesn't want to, I don't think so. Jake is 10 seconds away. He goes, they're going to have to pit soon. And like I said, if Rez is as talkative as you say, you'd probably tell him that he's pitting soon anyway.
I'm pretty sure Otis just binned it because he's after dropping down again. But Crossy's after getting Rez there.
No, that was intentional. That was very intentional.
Oh, was it?
Similar to the Cans overtake. It was very sort of passive.
Okay. Really weird. I mean, like, he's not fighting, or he's not on the same team, so I'm not really sure why he's letting these guys by. But I don't know. Rez has done stupid stuff like this in the past, giving people positions. But Cans is pitting this lap, of course. The green wrench indicator is on there now, so I am sure you will see Cans darting into the pit lane, and he does. And Rez, I'm sure, will follow him, and he does. And no harm done really to Crossy as he streaks clear at this moment in time. The question is, how far behind Panda will both Cans and Rez be?
Yeah, that's an interesting. I'm going to be on board with Panda now, see how he gets on. Going around the final corner just now. Jakey obviously up into second. Panda, here we go. Yeah, very clear. And in fact, Vettel is going to be ahead of the two of them as well. So the sort of alternate strategy has worked for Cans, at least to an extent, but Rez going to slot out right behind his teammate.
Yes, it's important now. I think Blah tries to let Rez go here maybe. Blah has got a penalty, so does Rez. Cans does not. Cans needs to set after Vettel, get by him, and then chase after his teammate. Team orders, I'd say, maybe apply there. We'll see. Panda, though, still having a chance at the championship. He might not let him go.
Yeah, well, I mean, we'll have to see how it plays out. Firstly, Can's got to get past Vettel. That is, you know, step number one, and he's not all too close. He's about a second and a half behind, so he's not. See, the problem, I guess, with Cans, unfortunately, is that he hasn't got many laps to actually take advantage of these new tyres. So I'm just not sure what exactly he can do from here, because Panda is 7 seconds pretty much ahead of. Oh no, sorry, he's 4.5 seconds roughly. Yeah, ahead of Vettel. So that's asking Panda a lot to drop back of that much.
Yeah, absolutely. Panda, of course, though, prone to a mistake. Cans, of course, with this move on Vettel. If we look at the championship standings right now, Jake will score 18 plus 2 for pole. Cans will score 12 if he takes Vettel, which I'm sure he will. The gap will be down to 2 points. That will be very juicy going into the next leg of races, won't it?
Yeah, that is
very, very Cans, you've blown it, doing whatever you were trying to do there. And that's Panda pretty much P3 now, so there's no way he's going to get that move.
Oh, well, very nice move from Cans, and he did catch Vettel very quickly. Quicker than I expected, no doubt. So, 3 seconds, it's a big ask, but he's already nearly a second ahead. I think he can do it, you know.
Absolutely. I'm on board here with Rez. Blah hasn't let him go yet. I'm sure he'll let him go down the straight here. We'll see.
Oh, I don't know. I reckon they might find it out. Bit of pride on the line more than anything else.
Absolutely. The two baguettes now fighting each other as they come down the straight here. Blah pulls to the inside to defend it. He's actually not going to let him go for it, even though he's on the superior strategy. But look at the grip he has. He just sends it around the outside. See you later, Blah. And that is P6 for Rez. Good move.
Yeah, very, very nicely done from Rez. He knew he had the better tyres, the better grip at that stage. And Blah, I mean, he tried very hard and he learned his mistake from Monza. But yeah, couldn't hold it. And Rez just very nicely done.
Absolutely.
So
Jake, of course.
Vettel is next on the list.
Yeah, Jake has no penalties at the moment. Crossy does, but of course Crossy so far it doesn't matter. Panda has no penalties. Cans does. So Cans has to pass Panda. And then he needs to pull 3 seconds of the road. Panda hasn't got a single warning yet either. So you'd imagine he shouldn't get a penalty.
Yeah, you'd assume not unless Cans really makes a panic in these late stages. But even still, only 3 laps to go. I just don't quite see it happening. Unless team orders decide to kick in, which I'm not sure Panda will agree to. I wouldn't blame him either.
Taking a second out of him on this lap again. At least a second. It's actually been a second and a half. Cans now, you can see him in the background there, the broadcast shot. Oh, he smashes the fastest lap of the race as well. And Vettel is out. He's had a problem. I'm not sure what's happening there with him, but he's slowing down a lot.
I'm watching here. Vettel has just had an engine problem right on the start-finish straight, which puts Rez up in the 5th. And Rez gets the penalty having said that, so he may find himself behind his teammate.
Yeah.
He's not careful.
He might.
Bit of a shame there, because Rez was only about half a second behind Vettel, so I was hoping to see some potential action there. That obviously did not happen.
Absolutely. Cans now within 2 seconds of Panda. He's at the fastest lap of the race, so he's going to get 2 points. So Jake's 2 points for pole are negated. So if Cans finishes 4th, the gap will be 4 points. If Cans finishes 3rd, which is possible, gap will be 7 points. So it's all on the line here. Every point counts in the championship here at Formula 4 Mr. Forehead, you know that all too well after that double points when you took over me in the very first season of the championship.
Yeah,
too right.
That is true, but it doesn't need to be thought of that. And of course, I think what everyone can agree here, the most exciting part of this is, should Crossy bin it, Van Dorn ends up in 10th. So, all to play for in the last couple of laps.
Absolutely. Cans now all over the back of Panda here. He is... Oh, Panda's hit the wall. And I think he has got wing damage this time.
I think both of them clipped the wall there, but Cans is at the very back of his car, so he won't feel the effect of it. If you're right about Panda, then this could be trouble right here. But Cans, either way, so close to the back, and I wonder a team order's going to be called for. Panda, though, looking like he defended the inside on that last corner.
Oh, he has. He's pulled to the inside, but he has to outbrake Cans. He has to push him wide here. It's so vital that he does that. And again, do you see what I mean? He doesn't have that killer instinct. Again, this is what we're talking about. He just lets people go. He needs to outbrake himself there to force Cans wide. That's what you need to do. You need to keep the position. Cans now is going to gap him over the next 2 laps, and he's going to pull that 3 seconds.
Yeah, so there's and Otis has a penalty for a severe collision with Raikkonen. So shame I didn't catch that on screen, but sure it is how it is. But the thing now for Cans is he's got to pull away. So Panda still has incentive to drive hard and to really push Cans all the way. Only 2 laps, and it looks like Panda's kind of sticking with him for now.
For now, absolutely. Well, let's see. It's not a foregone conclusion yet. And the hypers are really like to make the difference in the last sector, I would say, more than anything. So let's see what Cans can do through the last sector. Panda will know that, of course, if I'm sure Panda, he'll be keeping an eye on the race engineer to just check what Cans' situation is. And I'm sure Cans probably might have said it as well. He might have let it slip. But yeah, it's looking juicy now as we go into the final few laps. But no one has been anywhere near Crossy as we go on board with him now as he's about to start his final lap of the race. He has been on an absolute tear. He's in a world of his own, and just like last season, he's going to finish 20 seconds up the road probably by the end of the race. 17 seconds over Jake, but you know what? Otis has retired from the session. Well, I was going to say it, but Jake bringing it home in second. Fair play to him.
Yeah, no. Yeah, really, really well driven. And I'm sure everything will be turned down right now. Just bring the car home on the last lap. You could practically have a pit stop and still come out first. So... let's see, let's watch him for some of this lap at least. Hopefully he can have a flawless finish.
Absolutely. Gap between Panda and Cans, 1.3 seconds starting this lap. Now 1.5 seconds. Cans needs to gap. 1.6 is now the gap as well. You can see it there on your screens for those of you who will be watching this broadcast at a later stage. It's back down to 1.5 now. Panda needs to use everything he has, and he is using it. He's extracting every last bit of performance out of his ERS, as you can see. But it's now 1.7 seconds, and this is where it gets critical. He needs to stay within that time. He should have fought him harder, I think, Forehead. I stand by it. I think he is not too soft for this. He needs to be fighting harder. And you have these little moments where you can get extra points. You need to be taking them. 2.1 now is the gap. Forehead, what do you think is going to happen?
Yeah, I think he's going to right down to the wire. I think Panda, I was going to say he's going to hold it, but can't. It's really on another level at the moment. But I agree with what you're saying with Panda. Of course, we're not in the driver's seat. It's so hard to say, but it did look like he could have fought harder. He could have pushed Can to some extent because...
Oh, he got wide, that's it.
The 2 times I've seen Panda being overtaken, he hasn't made the other car deviate really from the line they always plan to take. And that is an issue. However, it's 2.7 seconds now. Can's so close to that podium, to that 3rd place. I just don't know exactly what Panda's got left in the tank, how well he can take.
Oh, it's so close, but Panda I think has it. But let's find out.
Can's going oh so wide.
Oh, he's got him.
Panda does it.
Just.
Well held on to by Panda, just about. Blah as well is going to just about hold on to 6th as he is he's 4 seconds ahead of Hamilton. But that is oof.
Nutty race. What do you think for it? Interesting, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, it is your championship after all. It wouldn't be good without you, right? And there's Brendan Lee on the podium with Chink and the black guy. So there you go. That's yep. They're all Irish or Welsh or English or whatever they are.
There's one of them.
One of those ones, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, Forehead. Crossy's in another league, isn't he? Around Singapore.
Oh, around Singapore, no doubt. That was exceptional, and he had no trouble at all. The only issue he had was himself. That didn't even get him. So,
which is always an issue.
No, a remarkable drive from Crossy, nearly fastest lap of the day, as well as everything else. Let's not forget. So, he looked. Yeah, that is true, but he looked untouchable.
Absolutely. Right. Let's drag in our top 3 from the race itself. It is our top 3, of course. And the Singapore specialist, I have to say, taking over the reign from me from last season and this season. Crossy. You know, I mean, like, even with a Honda engine, we can't slow you down. What's going on?
I don't know. I just feel like I have the pace. I was only 15 seconds in front of him at the end. I didn't think I was that fast. I was like, oh, Jakey's probably like 8-7 seconds behind me because I couldn't see him on the radar. And when I finished and I seen 15, I was like, holy shit.
Yeah. So, I mean, look, you're in another league in the race. It was so apparent after, like, first lap, second lap, you got him. You just so much more pace.
Yeah.
You were gapping him by, I think it was 2.2 seconds on average a lap moving forward. We're working it out. Question has to be asked, why the fuck can't you do this every other race?
Oh, Italy came, it was raining. I was like, oh god. I had a glitch as well in qualifying. My wheels were at 800 degrees Celsius, so I just couldn't set a lap for some reason.
That's why
I went out on dries. I was like, I may as well just do it, have a go at it, and then. But yeah, the first lap, Jakey was staying at a good pace, but then it came to about the 3rd lap. I got past him on the DRS, and then when it said I was 2.2 seconds up on my delta, I was like, I've got this now.
Yeah.
Just try and keep it there.
Forehead.
Yeah, no, I was kind of going to touch on that. Obviously, you look like that Jake was sort of matching your pace for a while and that kind of stuff. But once you pulled away, and especially when you came out of the pits, did you ever have any doubt that you weren't going to take it?
Well, I kept going. I went long, of course. I went like 2 extra laps. I'm pretty sure, or 1 extra. But I knew I had it in the bag as long as I didn't bin it. So right on the last few laps, I was like, all right, now I just need to slow it down and bring it home. So that was it.
Cool.
Yeah. And what goes through your mind in a race like that when you're out and you're kind of on your own? Are you watching any other sections of the race? Or are you purely focused on your own thing?
No, I'm more focused on my own. If anything, I'm just making sure that I've got my tires can last me. I'm not going to spin out; they're not overheating, and I'm making sure that Jakey's not catching me. But I'm also checking in front to make sure I'm not being blocked by anybody. That happened with Rez and Can at one point.
Yeah. Perfect. we'll touch on that actually when we come back to you at the end. Jake, second place again, Mr. Consistent. You brought home the most points since France of anyone now, overtaking Cans, of course. With Cans in fourth, that reduces the gap in the championship down to 4 points, and Jake has died again. Well, goodbye, Jake. That was nice knowing you. Panda will come to you instead because Jake has just died. Panda, third place in the end. Luckily for you, Cans had a penalty. Happy with that?
But that's kind of why I didn't fight that hard, because I was decently paced, so I kind of knew I could keep it within 3 seconds if I let him by.
You knew?
Yeah, I wasn't actually that slow that way, like a bit slow.
Okay, cool.
Felt my laps were semi-consistent.
Cool. I would have disagreed, and I would have said you let him by too easily again. But fair enough. Forehead, any words on him?
Yeah, again, that was really down to the wire. Did you know how much that Cans was pulling away from you when you did let him by at that time, or are you still fairly confident?
Like 2/10 a lap.
No.
That's how much he caught me by, like a second. When he passed me, it was only like 3/10.
Yeah.
Well, from what I saw.
Okay, cool.
Maybe.
We're gonna come back to you, Crossy, because Jake has literally fallen off the face of the world again. I think he's just not really a fan of interviews, to be honest with you. Crossy, Russia's next, slightly more of a power track. Toro Rosso will be found out a bit more. Can you make the difference?
I'm pretty good at that track, especially on aerodynamic wise. I know I'm not going to have the speed on the straights, but I know, there's one sector where it's just full. Well, sector 1 and sector 3 are more pacey. Sector 2 is more corners, so as long as I can get the sector 2 correct, I'm pretty sure I can gain on them.
Okay, and with the win, you're back in the championship, but I've just one thing I want to point out. Can you, stop winning races and then binning them and the other ones? Because you'd actually be up there otherwise, you know that.
Well, my slogan is bin it or win it, so, why not?
Or as Forehead said, Crossy's only enemy is himself. But yeah. Perfect. Right, guys, I'll move you back out. Thanks again. Unfortunately, we don't have Jake for the interview, but I'm sure in Jake's words, Forehead, he would have been like, yeah, it's good, isn't it?
Yep, pretty much. He's definitely a man of a few words.
Perfect. Forehead, thank you very much for joining me for the race here in Singapore. Guys, we will be back with Russia. See you soon. Bye.
Bye-bye.